Trish is a woman who was brought to the emergency room by her husband. She said, "I felt like killing myself." She had lost all interest in life about 4 months before. She lost 14 pounds without dieting because she had lost interest in eating and she didn't feel like it. She had trouble falling asleep every night and woke up at 3 a.m. every morning when she normally woke up at 6 a.m. She had low energy, trouble staying focused, and less ability to do her job at a dog food processing plant. She was convinced that she had made a mistake that would ultimately lead to the death of thousands of dogs. She expected soon she'd be arrested and would rather kill herself than go to prison. This story from the American Psychiatric Association is hard to hear, but unfortunately, these symptoms are the brutal reality of depression. This could be your child, a doctor, your friend, or someone else who has a direct connection with you. Did you know that depression is also one of the side effects of increased and too much screen time? Excessive screen use is a problem for children and adolescents, but it can easily affect adults as well in the same way. As adults, we need to set limits as it pertains to excessive screen time and become better role models for the youth of today so that their health doesn't suffer. Today, I'm going to put into perspective just how big of a problem excessive screen time is, talk about the adverse health effects that are associated with the problem, and then I'm going to talk to you about my solution to the problem. So, let's begin by talking about just how big of a problem excessive screen use is. The Mayo Clinic recommends that children under the age of 2 should have zero screen time, while children between the ages of 2 and 5 should be limited to only 1 hour per day of high-quality programming. As for older children, it is widely recommended to limit their screen time outside of the education system. Having said that, a study conducted in the United States showed that children under the age of 2 spend an average of 75 minutes per day in front of a screen. And that only increases as we get older. A national study conducted by the Kaiser Family Foundation revealed that children between the ages of 8 and 18 were spent on average of over 7 hours per day using entertainment media. If that statistic isn't shocking enough, because of media multitasking such as watching television while using social media, they were able to cram over 10 hours of screen use into that time. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, people over the age of 15 watch almost 3 hours of television per day. And assuming you live to be 80 years old, you will have spent over 7 years of your life watching television. And that's just television alone. That doesn't include computer use or mobile device use. So now that you understand just how much of our lives are dedicated to screen time, let's talk about the negative effects it has on our children. The mental health of our children is suffering, and the side effects could last into adulthood. A study conducted in Denmark collected data as they followed adolescents for up to 12 years. The study showed that each additional hour spent watching television resulted in an increased risk for depression. And as I talked about earlier, the symptoms of depression are very serious. Now, because screen time is an activity that requires little to no body movement, obesity is another one of the most common side effects. The relationship between the two has been widely studied. An international study conducted by the Medical Research Institute of New Zealand of over 200,000 adolescents in 37 different countries revealed that there was a direct relationship between television viewing time and obesity. The study showed that increased viewing time resulted in a higher body mass index rating, also known as BMI. A higher BMI increased the risk for heart disease, blood pressure, diabetes, breathing problems, and even certain types of cancer. Children's quality and quantity of sleep are also suffering as well, which in turn can hurt their academic performance in school. Finally, let's talk about how we can reduce screen time. There are 3 parts to the solution. First, we need to set limits as it pertains to screen time and focus on enforcing them. In the same Kaiser Family Foundation study that I talked about earlier, 28% of those children between the age of 18 said that they had any rules at all regarding television viewing time, and only 26% of those said that the rules were actually enforced. Second, we need to encourage alternative activities such as sports, biking, skateboarding, or hiking. These are beneficial because it helps reduce screen time, and they're also a physical activity which helps promote good health. The last part of my solution may be the hardest, yet so simple and effective. We must lead by example. The study called the relationship between parents' viewing time and children's viewing time surveyed parents and over 600 adolescents determined that parents' viewing time had the biggest influence on the children's viewing time than the actual rules set in that were forced by parents. As we progress farther into the future, the amount of technology that we use will grow faster than we can imagine. By now, you have a better idea of the growing epidemic of increased screen use and the adverse side effects that come with the problem. Remember that people affected by side effects of too much screen time could be someone that has a direct relationship with you. Therefore, it is important that we make the proposed changes now. Set limits as it pertains to screen time and encourage alternative activities, but most importantly, put your phones down and reduce your personal screen time for the sake of our future. Thank you.